I'm Kate Jones. I'm an assistant professor in communication and theater here at Wake Tech, and this is an overview of my public speaking class as seen through the lens of the EPIC 110 course. My plan is to go through the class a little bit by showing how it flows and the format of the course itself. And along the way, I'm going to point out some exemplary items, some things that exceed the EPIC standards, as well as some course improvements that were made based on collaboration with my EPIC 110 mentor. And then I'll also point out how I hope these different items create an improved learning experience for students here at Wake Tech. When we go into the online class, you'll notice that the students enter at the announcements page. And I've also created a header at the top of the page which matches the textbook so that they get a sense of where they are. A lot of them have a lot of online classes, and I think it serves as a nice visual reminder to have that header. There is information there about the course entry quiz, and then there's also a welcome message for students. And I have lots of these GIFs and memes and things like that throughout the course, usually in announcements, which are a little less formal. So students get a sense of my sense of humor and the fact that I want them to feel relaxed and comfortable in the course. So this welcome message will direct them to go to the Getting Started page, and here they'll find the information that they need about the class itself, how to navigate the class, the textbook, including a picture of what the textbook looks like. And I've added this semester some guidelines for success in online classes. We have a lot of students taking online courses who might never have taken them before. And I've also included a video from a colleague of mine about how students might successfully transition to online classes, communication classes in particular. And then of course they have their syllabus and a link to student support resources. If they come back to this left-hand menu again, the next thing they'll come to is faculty information. And I have a picture of myself so they know what I look like, and some information about my experiences and my family, and again, trying to set a tone for students to feel welcome and encouraged in the class and connected as well. And then over here to the left, of course, are some of the other types of tools that will be present in any course. You'll notice that I changed the heading. I adjusted a little bit from lessons to lessons/weekly assignments, and from collaboration to collaboration/discussion board. Those are just small changes, but I think for students who are new to online learning, they give a little clearer idea of what's in those two very important folders. The section that students will go to is the lessons and weekly assignments. And here you'll see that all of the lessons have the same sort of cover link where it has the dates that the lesson runs, the activities they can expect to participate in, and then the SLOs that are covered in each lesson. And in lesson 1, you can kind of see where I have set up the structure for these lessons. And so every single lesson will start with the lesson assignments at the top. And specifically, one thing I've done is I've organized the lesson assignments in terms of assignments that are due on Thursday and assignments that are due on Sunday. Students have assignments due in my class every week on Thursdays and on Sundays, and they know eventually, they start to understand that there are always assignments due on those days. I always send an announcement on those days as a reminder that there's work due, and that's reinforced again through this assignment item that is always organized the same way with what needs to be completed by Thursday and what needs to be completed by Sunday. And I think that's especially important to one of my goals to keep the class relevant and be a good learning experience for a diverse set of students, because as we know, not all students budget their time well, and particularly those who are used to face-to-face meetings and getting things reinforced every week. This hopefully is a way to help those students stay on track as well, even if this isn't something that comes very naturally for them. So the other thing that I have in lesson 1 is a welcome to the class. That was one of my goals with the EPIC certification, was to have lots of sort of instructional videos for students where I'm talking to them about how to succeed in the class. Specifically, my goal was to have a video for each speech that they give, but I've also included other videos throughout to try to kind of connect with them and help them understand the material better. So another way that you can see that is when we look at one of the lesson folders for a speech week where they have speeches due, then you'll see that they have the assignments organized the way that I talked about. And then there's always going to be, on the week that an assignment is due, a speech is due, there'll always be a folder that has all the handouts they need to see what they can do to be successful on that assignment. So it'll be the handout with the requirements for the speech, a sample rubric, a worksheet for the outline, and all those kinds of materials. Then the next thing they'll see will be some resources for them to use that relate to where we are in the course and what kinds of things we're working on for this particular speech. So this is pretty early in the semester, and I just want them to get started using a visual aid, delivering their speech without reading to the class, and citing their sources verbally. So there are some resources there for them to really concentrate on those three elements before they turn in their work for the week. So they'll turn in a worksheet on Thursday, which is basically a rough draft of their outline. I'll give them some feedback before Sunday, and then on Sunday, they'll turn in their videotape of their speech and also their final outline. And in these folders where they have speeches due, there's always a line item here that says these items have been available in previous lessons, but you may want to look over them again. And here you'll see that video that I mentioned for how to successfully complete this particular speech. And now I have one for every presentation. The other thing I have for every presentation is a sample student speech. I have gone through the procedures at Wake Tech to get students give permission to have their work viewed, by other students. And these are students who've given A speeches in the past. And so I think it's really important and helpful for students to see what that looks like. And so they can click on this and see a student who's been successful in the assignment and what it actually looks like. Another example of an exemplary item in the course is the library learning modules. And there are 4 of them that are inserted through various lessons throughout the semester. And this came about as part of a pilot program a couple of semesters ago with the library, where they offered to embed a librarian in the class. So together we came up with how best to organize the materials that they have, and it presents information to students in this class, such as where to find information at the library, how to access it online, how to find great sources for their presentations, how to evaluate whether sources are good or credible or not credible, which is particularly important today. And in addition, they have a librarian who's assigned to the class who they can contact directly with questions about the assignments in this course. And she has access to the course, so she knows exactly what we're doing and what will work for these students and their assignments. So it's a really cool element of the class that I think, again, hits at helping a diverse population of students. We've got some who are very familiar with how to do research and some who are really just getting started with it. The last item I want to point out is one that came up as part of the EPIC program, and that is a new item that we've put into each or several of the lessons called the Experts Say. And this is a chance to insert information into the lessons that isn't necessarily what they would get in their textbooks, but it is related to what we're learning, and it's the voice of someone else other than me sort of telling them about it. So in this case, students are learning about introductions and conclusions, and this particular video is a YouTuber who is really good at explaining the different parts of a speech. So we use her video for students to reinforce this idea of what makes a strong introduction and conclusion. I actually have another one in this lesson folder, the Experts Say, And in this case, it's Matthew McConaughey, the actor, who is accepting an Academy Award. And he does it in a way that's really well organized. It models for students how they would preview their main points, give strong transitions, and then summarize what they have to say at the end. So it's a short acceptance speech, but it hits on these points that I'm trying to reinforce in class. And one of the things that I did with this particular speech is I incorporated a new learning tool for me called Edpuzzle, where students will view the video, and then you can see down here these little markers denote where I've put in some written notes off to the side for them as they watch the video to see what it is that I want them to be focused on. So it's a really interesting way for them to look at a video using this what the experts say and also making use of a tool like Edpuzzle. So these are the things that I wanted to highlight from my course in terms of ways that I've worked with the EPIC 110 mentor to come up with some tools and some strategies for really reaching our diverse population of learners. That was my main goal in how to expand that reach so that students with all different ranges of experience in learning, and particularly in online learning, can feel as though they're welcomed into the course, they're encouraged, and they're given every possible resource for success. So with all of these improvements in place, you may wonder, how are we going to know if they've actually been effective or not? Well, one thing that I've added, again based on my EPIC work here in this course, is a survey that shows up at the end of each lesson where students are given the option, it's not mandatory, to reflect on something that's worked really well in this lesson or something that maybe wasn't very clear or could use improvement. And my intention is to take this information that they share with me and use it to continue to make changes and additions to the class where needed, and to continue to be able to kind of drill down and really make sure that I'm addressing the needs of this diverse student population at Wake Tech. That's, as I've mentioned several times, my primary goal. And I think this new survey will give me a chance to make sure that students know that all of their voices are being heard, and will allow me to adjust and adapt pretty quickly as I hear back from them. So these are the wonderful things that I've learned and incorporated in my course after completing the EPIC 110 class, and I hope that you find this information useful.